Hey, what is happening, everybody? So on this video today, we're going to get into database activation. I'm going to be sharing my screen a lot, so I'm just going to start out right here. We're going to touch on voicemail drops, SMS, power dialers. I'm going to jump right into things. We're going to go over some overarching strategies and concepts in the beginning portion, but then we're going to get into nitty-gritty step-by-step stuff as we go on. So I'm going to just jump right in and come along. Let's roll. So first off, what do we need to be able to follow along here and implement this stuff today? You need some sort of list. You need people to contact. So this could be past clients or just cold lists. You need some sort of system. Today we're going to be walking you through step by step on Agent Flywheel. There's a lot of things out there in the market. So if you're looking for like ringless voicemails or voicemail drops, you could Google that and find some stuff. But I'm going to be walking you through today using our platform, Agent Flywheel. And then you need some sort of strategy / offer. And this is going to be primarily dependent upon who we're going after and who we want to talk to. So there's a lot of variables. I'll kind of walk through some strategies and concepts around some specific use cases, but just kind of coming in with the mindset is like, hey, these are like the core basics of what we need to jump in to get going with things. I'm going to jump over to our next slide here and talk a little bit more about strategy. So when we're talking about database activation, now there's a number of different ways of leveraging and using this. This could be for past clients. This could be for our warm existing pipeline and people that we've have in our contacts. And this can actually be used for cold prospecting. So just a list of data. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit more step by step, kind of like cold data type stuff. This would be something that you would be doing on a daily, as a daily activity to generate new sales conversations and generate interest. So with that being said, I'm going to jump into sharing my screen, and we're going to start to get some step by step. And as we go through, I'll talk about some specific use cases on the different strategies, different offers, different angles to be able to take as we get into things. Let's get it. All right, so first things first, we need some sort of data. We need people to contact, names, numbers, emails, all that good type of stuff. Now, depending upon who you're going after and who your target market is, this is going to be different. Depending upon, let's say, for example, you want to go after, you're a real estate agent or a lender, and you just want a list of homeowners within a given proximity. You can, title and or some sort of list broker like RedX or something like that could be a good place to just get some core raw data. Now, if you are going after a specific industry, so let's say, for example, you're a lender and you just want a list of realtors, or you're if you're an agency owner and you want to grow your business, you can have somebody, you can buy list, you can have somebody on like Fiverr scrape data for you. You can get a web crawler to scrape data off of online. So there's a bunch of different ways of going about getting data, but when you have but from that point, what do we do with that? So that brings us to this point. We have something, and again, this could be your old list of contacts you already have. This could be your old list of clients you already have. Generally speaking, when we get ready to upload these people into your platform, we want to segment them into buckets based off of where they're at in their customer life cycle or prospect life cycle. So if they're cold prospect, we want to batch those people together in a cold list. If they're our warm pipeline and we want to reactivate them, then that's going to be a subset. If there are clients, we want to upload them and segment them into their own subset there. So the reason we do this is we want to make sure that we have different messages going out for different people. And so today I'm going to walk you through mostly just like a cold approach. But as we go through that, we'll be able to talk about some strategies on like reactivating existing databases or following up with existing clients and past clients. So we're right here in, so we're in Agent Flywheel. We're over here on the contact section on the left-hand sidebar, and this is where we would begin to upload our contact. Now, if we have a bulk list, clicking here to hit this upload button and import contacts, everything's going to be in like a CSV file. You just want to make sure you have your headers lined up, so first name, last name, phone number, email, all that good jazz. And depending upon what your contacts are, like if it's past clients, you're going to have a lot of, you should have a lot of information on them, and you can match them up with the fields that are appropriate for that person. So once we upload them, we're going to have an opportunity to add a tag at the end so we know who they are. Right, so if it's a client, you can tag it client. If it's a warm lead, you can tag it warm lead. If it's cold, there's nothing, you can just leave it with nothing. So I'm going to take us to kind of the next portion here, which is segmenting the list for who we want to go after. So in this particular situation, we're talking about a smart list. And what I've done here is I've created a smart list right there, which is, this is totally cold. So the way we go about doing this is over here on, when I click on this, I'll show you exactly. So we have this not assigned no DB. So when we say no DB, that's going to be a tag that we've assigned for database reactivation. And I'm going to click over here on the more filters. I've sorted it out where it says that's not currently assigned to any contacts, and it does not have a tag DB, so it's not already been ran through our database activation workflow, and then the last activity is empty, meaning that nobody's called it, nobody's reached out to it. It's completely fresh, because we don't want to be accidentally popping people in here if they have some sort of contact activity or records, or they're currently assigned to somebody. So this is just like a safety protocol to make sure that we're not accidentally adding in leads that are past clients or warm leads like that. So once you set that, you can go and hit save, and this can be your cold list. You can name it whatever you want. When you hit save here, you have the opportunity of naming it, and you can change it or save it as new if you make some adjustments to that. So from there, we have our list that we want to be able to engage with. They're all sorted out. They're filtered to the types of folks that we want to follow up with. Now, what do we do with these people? We're going to add them into a workflow. Now, in this workflow, we're going to walk through, and I'll pop over to that right now and give you some idea of what we're talking about, and then we'll... All right. So we are now in the workflow section, and we are in a folder called database activation. Now, if you're an existing client or you want to become a client, you'll have a lot of this stuff built out for you. If you are doing this on your own, obviously you're going to want to recreate this by yourself. But so in here in this database activation, I'm going to go ahead and click on here. Now, there's going to be two I'm going to walk through two things here. This is, the initial stage where we are putting people into, and then what happens when people replies. We want to have some stuff that takes place if people begin to respond, so we can then say, hey, if they respond, what do we want to happen? So that's going to be that second stage there. So inside this database activation, I'm going to go ahead and click on this here. And so the first thing that we have on this pipeline here, is going to be adding all of these contacts to a Facebook audience. So the cool thing here is, and the strategy behind this is, as soon as we add them in, they're going to get a voicemail, which is right here. We're going to add them to a power dialer, and we're going to follow up with an SMS message. Now, in this particular situation, we're hitting them, and then all of a sudden they get a voicemail from us, they get a text message from us, and then and a phone call from us, and then they see us online, right? So it's like, oh wait, what's going on here? Like things start to click. So it's a number of different ways of getting in front of people on an ongoing basis. Now, you can set this audience for however long you want. It can be like a short, like a 7-day type of retargeting audience, but you can adjust that to whatever you want there. Now, coming on down this workflow here, we have a stage where it is adding users. Now, this is where if you had a team of people, you can add in multiple people, and it will round robin these leads based off of however many people you have in there. So you can have it apply evenly, you can have it adjust to heavy hitters, whatever you want, but this is where you would add in multiple people onto this stage and round robin if you wanted. Now if it's just you, then you can add yourself there, or you can add yourself as a contact originally when you upload contacts. Now, in this particular situation, we have it scheduled to go out at a specific time, which is right here. Now, for this is set to go out at 11 o'clock. Now, there's a lot of functionality that you can do here. If you know that you want your calls to go out at 3 o'clock, or 9 in the morning every morning, or maybe you want multiple times, like 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, you can set it up for however you want. But I'll just walk you through what's here. It's 11. So the strategy here is just to get everything out all at once within like a 30-minute window. You can spread it across an entire day. Say I want it to start at 9 o'clock. I want all of these contacts to go throughout the entire day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Or maybe you just want Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or whatever you want there. So there's a lot of functionality to play around with here on the timing and the schedule. There's generally there's no what the best time is. What's the best time for you? So the best time for you is going to be when you're available to respond to people, because when they respond, we want to be on them right away, because most often, if you're not following up and engaging with those people when they respond right then and there, it's a dead deal. Just that whole concept of speed to lead. So we want to be on it fast. So you want to make sure that you're available. So if you're wondering what's the best time to do it, when you're available. So make sure you have that set for when you're available, and you can go ahead and hit save there. Now, moving on down the list here, voicemail. This voicemail is going to be specific to whom you're targeting. If this is a cold lead, you have a specific offer or a specific intention. So let's say, for example, it's just a cold homeowner, and you come up with a strategy of saying you want to drum up to to see if they may be interested in buying or selling a home. And you could say something along the lines of, hey, I have some buyers that are interested in your neighborhood. I wanted to give you a call and see about if you know anybody who might be interested in selling their home. And just this is your name. That's your message. So that's the concept of a message. Now, if you're, depending upon who you're going after, you want to kind of craft a message that's going to speak to that particular market or that particular person. And what's your offer? What's the conversation about? You can be a little bit direct, but also a little bit vague is good too in that situation. So how do we go about getting a voice message in here? There is a very, very easy, free online voicerecorder.com. Come in here, literally just talking, click this button, talking to it, and it'll give you a prompt to download. And then when we are in the workflow, there'll be a place here to just add that file to there. And you can listen to it, make sure it sounds good, whatever. We'll actually do some where it's like not super coherent, where it's like, hey, this is so and so, just giving you a ring and blah blah blah, and it's just they're like, who's this? What's this about? Type of a thing. So I call it the bumbling old man. Like, can you help me? Like somebody's looking for some help, type of a thing. So anyway, now coming on down this list from here, we are going to add that automatically to a power dialer flow for follow-up, for manual follow-up. So this is a phone call after voicemail, and then we're going to wait a few minutes to then send them a text message. And text message is going to be really simple. It's and again, this is going to be specific to your offer that you're going after, but you want to make sure that like your it's not too direct, kind of open-ended, where we're kind of getting a response. If you want it to be extremely open-ended and get a high response, just say, hey, is this first name? And they're going to say yes, or who's this, type of a situation, where you're going to get a very, very high response. But here's a little tip. When you say, if you plug in on the text message, hey, contact first name, this is user's first name, so it's going to plug in your name. When you go to call them on the power dialer, rather than saying, unknown number or whatever, it's going to say most likely whatever your first name, most likely Connor, most likely Luke, most likely Janine. So there's that a little hack to break through on those ones. Hey, I just left you a voicemail. Is this the best place to ask you a question? Now, this is going to be like a broad general thing that you can pretty much use for anything, warm or cold. Obviously, if this is a client, you want to make these messages and these texts specific to that person. A good use case for that might be, hey, you want to follow up with your clients quarterly, and you just want to say, hey, for example, you're coming up to the holiday season, you want to send out a voicemail, you plug it in, and it say, hey, just wanted to wish you a happy holidays, hope everything's going well. If you have any questions or need anything, in regards to your property or whatever your product or service is, don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. And then you follow up, hey, that message would be like, hey, I just left you a message, just wanted to wish you guys a happy holiday, hope you're having a great year, and hope you have an amazing, next year, type of a thing. So that would be like just a quarterly touch and base, just staying top of mind, and you can use these merge fields to kind of customize that message however you want. Another good use case is if you have if you're a realtor or a lender and you close on a property on a specific date, you can plug in that specific date and have these go out on that. Hey, your annual, congratulations, your annual, your annual home purchase date is on us, or your home birthday is up. So So the strategy, you can use it for many multiple different use cases to stay in front of people and add a lot of flexibility and functionality on there. The use cases and ways you can go with this is pretty endless. Generally, keeping it simple and straightforward is the best approach right out of the gate. All right, so from this point, if somebody responds back to this stuff, we want something to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and pop over to that process right now, and then I'll walk through exactly what that looks like. So if you remember, we had the two different workflows. We had the database activation and the reply. So we're going to jump into the reply, database reply right now. And this one is, again, this is for anybody who responds back. Now, obviously, if we have, your core pillars, your cold, your warm, or your clients, you can create different things for each one. But I'll walk you through exactly what that looks like as we go through in here. So the first off, there's this trigger, which is contact replied. It replied to the workflow database activation. Now, if you wanted to duplicate this, and let's say, for example, you're following up with your own clients, it would be replied to workflow, client reactivation or client follow-up, annual client check-in, whatever workflow that we created for them, so that's how you'd want to get that in there if you wanted to do that. So you can use these same concepts throughout. Now, in this particular situation, we're going to have a filter here where is if they replied. So if they replied to the follow-up, we're going to add a tag onto it. So we just know that that's it came from that. So this is just a secondary filter to make sure that random phone calls just aren't coming in and getting added to this flow. So does it have that tag from that previous workflow, and did they respond to that workflow? Because they could have responded and maybe already gone on to be a client or whatever. Now, again, in this situation, if you don't have somebody added in on the front end, you can assign them here. But we're going to create a task to call this lead. So we're adding a task to the general work, your processes of following up. At this point, we're going to create an opportunity over in the pipeline, send an email ping and an app ping. So these are internal notifications saying, hey, somebody just responded, or you got a hot lead, go get it, right? So you're going to get an email and then an in-app notification saying, hey, somebody just responded, and they're going to be, in this particular case, we got them, queued up in a pipeline stage where it says, hey, they're engaged. So right here, again, you can set this however you want, but this is in this pipeline stage. Where do we want them to go? So in this particular case, it's in a pipeline stage real estate agents, and we added them to in engaged. So that will be good to go for us there. All right, so we got just a little bit left here. We're going to touch on power dialers next. So when we are adding people to these database activation workflows, power dialers is something that can be used in and of itself, all by itself. So we're going to hit on that, and then we're going to go all the way kind of back to the contacts of how do we add people in to be able to run them through this machine that you now have created. So next thing that we're going to do, we'll pop over to the power dialers, and just for navigation purposes, we are in this is located in conversations and in manual actions. Now you can create these workflows. They're created in the workflows. So the power dialers this is how it would be sorted out visually. So if you have a workflow where it's just clients, all of my clients, you add them to a workflow. all of your cold leads, you add them to a workflow. So in this particular situation, your the cold leads would be in your database reactivation workflow. They would have all been loaded into that. So that's the one that you want to do. So you can have multiple different lists of people that you want to follow up with, and you just batch them by what category they are. So in this situation, this couldn't be more simple in regards to the functionality here. So we have we're in conversations, manual actions, and we select the power dialer, the workflow that we want to go, and we hit let's start. It's going to automatically begin calling our leads for us, and hopefully this doesn't mess up the recording, but as you can see, it's dialing there. I'm going to go ahead and just end this. And then you have the opportunity to disposition this. So I'm going to go ahead and hit no answer. And then from there, it will go into, it'll start calling the next lead right away. And I'm going to go ahead and pause this right here while we're on that point. And you can add in notes. You can do whatever you want at this point. So let's say you talk to this person, yada, yada, yada. Go ahead and make some changes, whatever it is, and then you're off to the races. If you schedule an appointment from that person, maybe you talk to them, you can do that. Now, we have a lot of other different videos and stuff on all that stuff. Don't want to get too much into that right now. I'm going to go back down to our contact list and show how we get people plugged into our conversion machine. So we're going to go back over to our contacts, and then we will. All right. So now we got everything set up. We're all dialed in. What is next? Well, we want to add these people. We want to start adding your contacts into your conversion machine, and but first off, we want to make sure that we can handle the flow of whatever is happening. We also want to gauge the response, be able to monitor things. So generally speaking, we can start out a little bit slower, and then crank it up as needed. I'll kind of walk you through some of that process here. So again, we're on our smart list that we originally created with all of our cold leads, all of our cold database. You can see there's some 17,000 here. Here's the filters that we have set on that. And what we're going to want to do is you can click over here, and you can, let's say you got everything dialed in, you're completely set, you know exactly how everything's working, it's running on all cylinders. You want to select all of them and then add them in. You can do that. Let's say, for example, you want to just add in, you can adjust to maybe 100 at a time, and you want to select 100 records. You can do that too. So you have 100 records selected out of that page size. And then you want to add them into your workflow. So you're going to go over here to the little robot, and it is going to give you the option to select the workflow that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And again, we are going to go pick, and you probably won't have all of these workflows that are in here. And I don't think that one's published, so give me 1 second. All right. So you do need to have the campaign or the workflow published to be able to add it to it. So so now in this situation, let's say we have 100 records. We just want to add them all at once. So you have some choices here. So I'll go through. I'm going to pick out the database activation, that main one. Do we want to add them all at a scheduled time? So this is at a future time in in so I want to do that next Friday, or I want to do it on the first of the coming month, whatever it may be. You can do that, so you can schedule it all. So let's say a good example of this is like you want to do like 100 at a time, and you just want to do it like a few days in the next week because you're going to be out of time or out of town or whatever. You can go ahead and do it like that. Now, let's say this is a consistent part of your workflow. You're doing it day in, day out, and you just want to say, I'm taking all of my records, and I'm just going to go ahead and add them in drip mode. Now, this is going to be, you want it to start, I'll walk you through right here. I want it to start on next Monday, and, it's, if you recall, we had it scheduled to start at like 10 or 11, but I'm just going to have it start at 9 just for the sake of this. I want to do 100 at a time, or 50 at a time, or whatever, whatever's the right fit for you. So if you're uploading 20,000 contacts and you want to do 500 a day, and you have a team of people that can field those. If it's you yourself and you have 10,000 records and you want to do 100 a day, because you know that you're going to get a 10% response rate, and that's pretty much all you can handle is talking to 10 new people a day. You can come in here and set that. So again, I typically recommend suggest starting out and like just individual runs to see what kind of response you're getting, and then adjust accordingly. So for this one, we're going to do 100. Actually, I selected 100 total records. So I'm just going to do 10, and I'm going to have it repeat after one day. We want it to go out through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm going to turn off the weekends. And again, we want it to go through, and this is, if you have it, again, if you don't have like a specific window set on the workflow, you can set that between here. So you can come in, so if you didn't have that, I want everything to go out at 11 o'clock, you could do that here where it would just add them in, and it's going to start every day, at 9 a.m. or 9:30, and I want it to end at, I want it to end at 5:30 p.m. or whatever. Or you want it to go out every single day at 3:30 to 5:30. You want these to go out, type of a thing. So you can do that. You can set all those times directly in there, and you'll be good to go. So add that workflow. So in this situation, it's going to go out 10 a day. Every day, Monday through Friday, starting at 9 a.m. If I can get that right. So add workflow. Hopefully that makes sense. You can shorten that window. You can leave it just to the specific time on the workflow. But from there, it will. Now in this case, if you did not have a time on that workflow and you hit add to workflow, this would go out right away, because it's going to be if you're in between that time frame, it's off to the races. Now in that particular situation, we had on that workflow, if you recall, we have this wait step. It's only going to go out Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock. So this one would not go through today. The first day would be tomorrow. When it got at 11, that first batch would go through. And so you can manipulate those things there to kind of make it however you want. So with that being said, there's a lot of functionality that you can do with this. The really cool thing is once you have something like this set up, especially if it's like cold stuff, you can do this and just essentially turn your machine on and be having something running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for you in the background to generate new conversations, whether that's whether you're prospecting for whomever that is. That'll walk you through from start to finish. So if you need help, if you want to use our program, Agent Flywheel. You want help putting something together like this, you can jump on our free trial, or get your first 14 days free, or if you want to go do everything yourself, you can go directly to the platform itself. So let's rock and roll, guys.